Good day, everyone. We are the reporters for today, and together with my partners, Noel Respicia and John Paul de los Reyes, will discuss you the chapter 3, which is the conceptualizing interaction design. So, what is conceptualizing design? Conceptualizing interaction design is a critical step in the product development process. It involves creating a proof of concept for a proposal product. This process is necessary to scrutinize vague ideas and assumptions about the product potential benefits, its feasibility, desirability, and the usefulness. So, next is the assumption and claims. So, during the conceptualization process, designers are encouraged to write down their assumptions and claims about the new design. They should then attempt to defend and support this assumption and claims. If some ideas are difficult to articulate, it can indicate that they, they may be vague or unrealistic. This process also helps identify problematic human activities and interactiveness that the product might affect or affected by. So these are example of assumption. So an assumption in this context is something taken for granted that needs further investigation. For example, a designer might assume that people will want to watch TV while driving. This assumption, while it might seem reasonable at first, requires further investigation to determine its validity and feasibility. The process of conceptualizing design is interactive, meaning it involves a cycle of developing, testing, analyzing, and referring to the product. This interactive process helps improve design ideas over time, ensuring that the final product is as effective and user-friendly as possible. So, in other hand, this is an example of claim. A claims statement asserting something to be true, even if it's still open to question. For instance, an assertion of multimodal style interaction for controlling GPS is safe and it is claimed. It also discusses the idea of robot waiters, highlighting the potential benefits like taking order, entertaining customers, and making recommendations. However, these are assumptions. And the real problem being addressed is the challenge of recruiting good wait staff who provide high quality customer service. During the early stage of design project, it's crucial to consider many unknowns such as source of ideas, inspiration, and other theory or research that can inform the design. The ideation process should involve questioning, reconsidering assumptions, and articulating concern. A framework for analyzing the problem space, which include identifying problems with an existing product or user experience, understanding why this problem exists, and how proposed design ideas might overcome this problem. So, like example, on this, what are the assumptions and claims made about watching 3D TV? The example of 3D TV is used to illustrate assumption and claims. The assumption was people would enjoy the enhanced clarity and color detail provided by 3D. And the claim was that people would not mind paying more for a new 3D enabled TV screen because the new experience. Conceptualizing design has several benefits, which are the orientation, open-minded, and a common ground. So first, what is orientation? Orientation enables design teams to ask a specific question about how the conceptual model will be understood. Second is the open-minded. Open-minded is prevents design teams from becoming narrowly focused early on. And lastly, the common ground. which is allow design teams to establish a commonly agreed terms.
From problem space to design space. Having a good understanding of the problem space can help inform the design space. Before deciding upon this, it is important to develop conceptual model. Understanding the problem space can inform the design space and helping to determine what kind of interface behavior and functionality to provide. Before deciding on this, it's important to develop a conceptual model. A conceptual model. A conceptual model is a high-level description of how a system organizes and operates. It helps designers clarify their thinking before they start creating their product. It provides a wrong strategy and frameworks of general concepts and their interrelations. Components. Components of a conceptual model is a metaphors and analogies. Metaphors and analogies this help user understand what a product is for and how to use it. The concepts is these are the ideas that people are exposed to through the product, such as task domain objects, their attributes, and operations. Relationship and mapping. Relationship and mappings are the connections between the concepts. First step in formulating a conceptual model. When formulating a conceptual model, designer should consider the task user will be doing, how the system will support this task, how appropriate interface metaphor, the kinds of interaction modes, and style to use. The best conceptual models are often those that are obvious, simple, and support intuitive operations. Interface metaphors. Interface metaphors are designed to be similar to a physical entity but also have their own properties. They can be based on an activity, an object, or a combination of both. They exploit the user's familiar knowledge, helping them understand the unfamiliars. Example, the interface metaphors. The example of interface metaphors include conceptualizing what users are doing, such as surfing the web. A conceptual model instantiated at the interface, like the desktop metaphor. Visualizing operation such as icon of a shopping cart into which the user placed items. The card metaphor. The card metaphor has been a highly popular user interface or UI design pattern particularly in online environments. Here are some reasons for its popularity. Fam- the familiar form factors. Familiar form factor cards resemble everyday items like playing cards or flashcards, making them intuitive for users. Easy to interaction. Easy to interaction users can easily flick through, sort, and theme cards, enhancing the browser experience. Content structuring. The content structuring card helps structured content into meaningful chunks similar to how paragraphs organize related sentences. Materials properties. The design mimics the appearance of paper, which can make digital content feel more tangible. The next is the benefit of interface metaphors and problem with interface metaphors. The benefits of interface metaphors is interface metaphors like the card metaphor offer several advantages. Easier learning. They simplify the learning curve for new systems, allowing users to grasp concepts more quickly. Understanding conceptual models. The understanding conceptual models is a metaphors help users understand an understanding model of the system they interact with. The accessibility. The accessibility, they can make technology more accessible to a diverse range of users, furthering innovative. The problem with interface metaphors. Despite their benefits, interface metaphors can also present challenges. The cultural conflicts. Cultural conflicts, some metaphors may break conventional or cultural rules leading to confusion. Design constraints. Design constraints, they can limit designer creatively and force them to adhere to existing potentially flawed designs. Misleading understanding. Users might only understand the system through the lens of the metaphors, which can be limiting.
Interaction types. Instructing. The user issue commands usually through menus, buttons, or voice input. The system responds by executing the command. For example, a user clicks save to restore a document or tell a voice assistant to set a reminder. Conversing. The interaction mimics a natural conversation where system and user exchange information in a dialogue-like manner. Example, chatbots or voice assistants that respond to a question or request as if a conversation. Manipulating. The user interacts with digital or physical object by manipulating them directly, often in graphical interfaces or virtual reality environment. Example, dragging and dropping files on a computer or moving objects in virtual space with a controller. Exploring. The user moves through or interact with virtual or physical environment to discover new information or experience. For example, navigating a 3D virtual world in a video game or walking through museum exhibit with augmented reality. Responding. The system initiates the interaction and the user chooses whether or how to respond to the prompt. For example, notification on a smartphone that the user can choose to open, dismiss, or ignore. Instructing is a type of interaction where user gives a specific command to a system, telling it what action to perform. This interaction model is very common across various devices and software because it is very simple and efficient. Conversing is an interaction model where the system engages with user as if it conversation similar to communicating with other person. Pros. Conversing feels natural and familiar, making it easier for users, especially novice, to engage with a system. It helps users to feel more comfortable and less intimidated by technology, reducing anxiety during interaction. Cons. Misunderstanding can occur if the system fails to correctly interpret or parse the user's input, leading in frustration or incorrect response. Manipulating involves interacting with virtual object through actions like dragging, selecting, opening or closing or zooming or mimicking physical word actions. Benefits of direct manipulation. Easy to learn. Novice can quickly grasp basic function through direct interaction. Efficient. Experienced user can complete tasks faster and even create custom action. Retention. Occasional users can remember how to use the system over time. Immediate feedback. Users see the results of their action instantly, reducing errors and need for error message. User control. It reduces anxiety, giving users confidence and sense of control. Disadvantage of direct manipulation. Literal interpretation. Some users may misunderstand the interface by taking its metaphors too literally. Task limitation. Not all the tasks can be effectively represented by direct interaction. Screen space. DM interfaces can be space consuming clustering the screen. Exploring involves moving through virtual or physical environment. User can explore aspects of virtual 3D environment. Physical environment can also embed with sensors that can detect the presence of someone will trigger digital or physical events to happen. Many examples of virtual environment include cities, parks, buildings, rooms, and datasets. Enable users to fly over them and zoom and out of different parts. Responding system takes the initiative to alert user to something that is of think is of interest. System does this by detecting the location and or presence of someone in vicinity and notifies them on their phone or watch. Which is learned from their repeated behaviors. Examples: alert the user of a nearby coffee bar where some friends are meeting. User's fitness tracker notifies them of a milestone reach. Automatic system responds with any request made by the user. Potential cons of the system initiated notification can tiresome or frustrating if too many notifications or the system gets it wrong. What does it do when it gets something wrong? Does it apologize? Does it allow the user to correct and direct the advice of information? Choosing an interaction type. Direct manipulation is good for doing types of tasks, for example, designing, drawing, flying, driving, or sizing windows. Issuing instructions is good for repetitive tasks, for example, spelling, checking, and file management. Having conversation is good for certain services, for instance, finding information or requesting music. Hybrid conceptual models are good for supporting multiple ways of carrying out of same actions. Different between interaction types and interface style. Interaction types. A description of what user is doing when interacting with a system, for example, instructing, talking, browsing, or responding. Interface styles. The kind of interface used support the interaction, for instance, command menu, based gestures, or voice. Conceptual knowledge that is used to inform design and guide research include paradigms, vision, theories, models, and framework.